Sign it." Min-jae's voice was cold steel as he slid the marriage certificate across the mahogany table. "Sign it, and your mother lives. Refuse, and she dies. It's that simple." Amara's hand trembled over the gold pen, her dark skin stark against the white paper that would bind her to two men she'd known for less than 48 hours. Two identical Korean faces stared at her from across the table, beautiful and merciless, like angels offering salvation with one hand and damnation with the other. The presidential suite of Echo Hotel pressed down on her, all luxury and suffocation, while somewhere in a Lagos hospital, her mother was dying. "This is insane," Amara whispered, her Nigerian accent thick with tears she refused to shed. "You're asking me to marry both of you, to belong to both of you. How is that even legal?" Jin-woo, the gentler twin, leaned forward, his designer suit catching the light. "In certain jurisdictions, yes, and more importantly, it's the only way we can help. Our family's corporation requires this, the paperwork, the legitimacy. Sign, and your mother is on a plane to Switzerland tonight, the best doctors. Experimental treatment. 90% success rate. She'll live, Amara. We can give you that." "And what do you get?" Her voice cracked. "What do I become?" Min-jae's smile was sharp as broken glass. "Ours, completely. For 2 years, minimum, you'll be Mrs. Park to both of us. You'll live in our home, appear at our side, play the devoted wife. What happens behind closed doors is negotiable, but the world will believe you love us both." "Because I'm desperate enough to agree," Amara said bitterly. "Because I'm half Korean, half Nigerian, exotic enough to be interesting, broken enough to be bought. Because you're exactly what we need," Jin-woo's voice softened. "And we're what you need. This isn't love, Amara. Not yet. But it's survival. For all of us." The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Amara thought of her mother, the woman who'd raised 4 children alone after her Korean husband vanished back to Seoul with empty promises. She thought of the hospital bed that smelled like death, of the doctor's words that still echoed in her skull. Stage 4, 6 months, maybe less, $3 million for treatment they'd never afford. She'd sworn she'd find a way. She just never imagined it would cost her everything. Amara pressed the pen to paper, her signature flowing like blood. "If you're lying, if you hurt her, we're not the villains," Min-jae interrupted. "We're just desperate like you. The difference is, we have the money to save lives. You just have to give us yours." And with that, Amara Okafor became Amara Park, wife to 2 strangers, bound by a contract written in her mother's borrowed time. She didn't know it then, but she'd just signed away more than 2 years. She'd signed away her heart. But let's rewind. Let me tell you how a struggling Nigerian artist with Korean blood she'd spent her whole life trying to forget ended up in a Seoul penthouse, caught between twin brothers who would make her remember everything, including how to feel alive again. 3 days earlier, everything was different. 3 days earlier, Amara still believed in miracles that didn't cost your soul. Welcome back to Afro-Korean Stories TV, fam. What you're about to hear is a story about sacrifice, identity, and the kind of love that breaks every rule. This is the story of Amara Okafor, a Nigerian woman with Korean blood she'd spent her whole life trying to forget, and the twin brothers who would make her remember everything. Stay till the end, because this journey gets wild. Trust me, you're not ready. Amara left the hospital at midnight, her phone buzzing with overdue rent notifications and her art professor's email about her unpaid tuition. She worked 3 jobs, painted in stolen moments between shifts at the restaurant, the call center, and weekend market stalls where she sold her art for prices that barely covered supplies. Her dreams of finishing art school had evaporated the day her mother collapsed during Sunday service. The Lagos night was humid, pressing against her skin like a wet cloth. She walked through Victoria Island, past clubs where people her age laughed and danced, living lives that felt like distant fiction. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She almost deleted it. Should have deleted it. The message read, "We can save her. Meet us at Echo Hotel, Presidential Suite. Come alone. Flight to Seoul leaves in 48 hours." Amara stared at the screen until the words blurred. This was insane. This was a scam. This was human trafficking waiting to happen. She should block the number, maybe report it to the police. Instead, she found herself in a Danfo bus heading to Victoria Island, her heart hammering against her ribs like it was trying to escape. The hotel loomed ahead, all glass and gold, the kind of place where people like her only entered through service doors. But when she gave her name at the desk, the receptionist's eyes widened with something like fear and respect. "Mrs. Okafor, the gentlemen are expecting you. Presidential floor. The elevator will take you directly." The ride up felt like ascending to judgment. Amara caught her reflection in the mirrored walls, her natural hair pulled into a messy bun, her Ankara print dress worn but clean, her face showing every one of her sleepless nights. She looked like exactly what she was, desperate and drowning. The doors opened to a hallway that smelled like money. 2 men stood waiting, and Amara's breath caught painfully in her chest. They were identical. Devastatingly handsome in that way that made her stomach drop and her skin prickle with warning. But where similarity ended, danger began. The one on the left wore all black, Balenciaga from head to toe, leaning against the wall with arms crossed and eyes cold as winter. The one on the right wore a charcoal Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than her yearly income, smiling in a way that didn't reach his eyes. "Amara Okafor," the smiling one spoke first, his voice smooth as aged whiskey with a Seoul accent that made something inside her chest tighten. "I'm Park Jin-woo. This is my brother Park Min-jae. Thank you for coming." Min-jae didn't smile. He just stared at her with an intensity that felt like being stripped bare. "Come in. We have a proposition that will save your mother's life." Every instinct Amara had inherited from her Nigerian mother and her absent Korean father screamed at her to run. Instead, she walked past them into opulence that felt obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lagos like a kingdom, furniture that looked like art, champagne chilling in silver buckets. This was old money, dangerous money. Min-jae moved to the bar without asking, pouring 3 glasses of something amber. Jin-woo guided her to a white leather sofa with a hand on her lower back that felt too familiar for strangers. "You're wondering how we know about your mother," Jin-woo said, sitting across from her with legs crossed in casual grace. Min-jae handed her a glass, his fingers brushing hers deliberately. She jerked back. He smiled, sharp and predatory. "We make it our business to know everything," Min-jae added, his voice deeper than his brother's, rougher. "Your mother, Chioma Okafor, stage 4 cancer, 6 months without intervention. But there's a facility in Switzerland with experimental treatment. 90% success rate for her specific case." Amara's hands shook so badly she had to set down the untouched glass. "Why would you help us? We're nobody to you." Jin-woo leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You're not nobody, not anymore. We're heads of Park Corporation, one of South Korea's largest conglomerates. We're powerful, wealthy, and in need of something money can't buy." "Legitimacy," Min-jae finished bluntly. "We need a wife, one woman married to both of us." The words hung in the air like smoke. Amara stood so fast the room spun. "You're insane. You want me to marry both of you? That's not even legal." "It is in certain jurisdictions," Jin-woo's voice remained calm. "And more importantly, It's what we're offering. Your mother can be on a plane to Switzerland in
We need
48
to make a decision
hours.
tonight.
The
The
best
stakes are too
doctors,
high to wait
private
any
villa,
longer.
full medical care for life. All we ask is you marry us, stay with us for 2 years minimum, appear at our side at social functions. And what else? Amara's voice cracked. What happens behind closed doors? Minjai's smile was dark. Nothing you don't agree to. We're not monsters, Amara. We're businessmen who need a bride. What happens between us beyond the contract is entirely up to you. She looked between them. These two beautiful, dangerous strangers offering to save her mother's life in exchange for hers. Why me? There are thousands of women who jump at this. Jinwoo pulled out a tablet, showed her a photo. It was her, taken weeks ago at the art market, laughing with a customer, sunlight catching the warm brown of her skin, her afro wild and free. She looked happy. She looked nothing like she felt now. Because when our investigator showed us this photo, we knew, Jinwoo said softly. You weren't performing. You were just living. That authenticity is rare in our world. And your background, half Nigerian, half Korean, it makes you perfect. Perfect for what? Anger flared hot in her chest. Perfect because I'm mixed? Because I'm exotic enough to be interesting but desperate enough to agree? Minjae's jaw tightened. Perfect because you're outside the world that's trying to control us. Our family, Korean high society, they expect us to marry within the chaebol class, merge corporations through marriage. You represent our refusal to be puppets. So I'm a rebellion? Amara laughed, hysterical. I'm a statement? You're a lifeline. Jinwoo stood, his expression intense. For all of us, we save your mother. You save us from a life we don't want. It's business, yes, but it's honest business. Amara's phone buzzed, a text from her sister. Mama's asking for you. She's having trouble breathing. The world tilted. She looked at these strangers, these impossibly wealthy men offering impossible things. I need time to think. You have 12 hours, Minjae said, checking his Patek Philippe. Your mother doesn't have longer than that. The treatment needs to start immediately or her body won't be strong enough to handle it. Jinwoo handed her a card, gold embossed. We're not the villains in this story, Amara. We're just people trying to survive our circumstances like you. The difference is, we have resources. Let us use them to help. The drive back to her small apartment in Yaba was a blur of tears and Lagos traffic. She sat on her bed, springs digging into her thighs, and stared at the card until the gold seemed to mock her. On the wall, her paintings watched, silent witnesses to her desperation. She'd painted her mother once, strong and laughing, braiding hair in their small living room. That woman was dying, and Amara had the power to save her. She called the hospital. Her mother was sleeping, the nurse said, but her oxygen levels were dropping. By morning, they'd need to discuss hospice. Hospice. The word tasted like ash. Amara thought about her father, the Korean man who'd promised her mother the world, given her 4 children, then disappeared back to Seoul when money got tight. She'd spent her whole life angry at her Korean blood, at the slant of her eyes that made her not quite Nigerian enough for some, not quite Korean enough for others. She'd rejected that part of herself so completely, she'd never learned the language, never explored the culture beyond what leaked through in her father's absence. Now Korean men were offering her a kingdom, and all it would cost was everything. She dialed at 5 a.m., the Lagos dawn breaking pink and gold outside her window. Jinwoo answered on the first ring. Yes, that's all Amara said. One word that changed everything. Yes? Smart girl. A car will pick you up at noon. Pack light. We'll provide everything you need. He hung up before she could change her mind. The next 6 hours passed in a daze. She threw random items into a battered suitcase, called her siblings with a story about a job opportunity abroad, couldn't bring herself to call her mother because she'd hear the lie. Her landlord could deal with the apartment. Her jobs could find replacements. None of it mattered if her mother lived. The Mercedes arrived exactly at noon. A driver with kind eyes and a Seoul accent opened her door. "Mrs. Park, welcome." Mrs. Park. The name felt foreign on her ears. Lagos International Airport VIP Terminal. She'd never been in this section, where the wealthy moved through immigration like water, untouched by the chaos that defined flying from Nigeria. A private jet waited, sleek and white, with the Park Corporation logo gleaming on its side. Inside was luxury she'd only seen in movies. Cream leather seats, a bedroom in the back, a bathroom bigger than her apartment's kitchen. And sitting in facing seats, waiting, were the twins. "Welcome aboard." Jin-woo gestured to the seat across from them. "The flight to Seoul is 14 hours. We should use this time to get to know each other. After all, we're about to become family." Min-jae handed her a glass of champagne. "You'll want this. It helps with nerves." Amara took it, drank it too fast, felt bubbles burn her throat. "My mother. You promised." "She's already en route?" Jin-woo pulled out his phone, showed her a video. Her mother, looking confused, but healthier than she'd been in weeks, sitting in what looked like a medical jet. "Dr. Klaus is with her. He's the best oncologist in Europe. She'll be in Zurich by tonight, in surgery by morning." Tears blurred Amara's vision. "Thank you. Thank you, Don't thank us yet." Min-jae's voice was hard. "You haven't seen the cost. Seoul isn't Lagos. Our world is brutal. You'll need to be harder than you've ever been." "I've survived Lagos." Amara lifted her chin. "I've survived poverty, loss, discrimination. I can survive anything." Something flickered in Min-jae's eyes. Respect, maybe. "We'll see." The flight was surreal. Jin-woo asked her about her art, genuinely interested in her technique, her influences. He was easy to talk to, warm in a way that felt calculated but not insincere. Min-jae mostly watched, interjecting occasionally with observations that cut too close to truth. He saw through her walls in ways that made her nervous. Somewhere over Egypt, exhaustion claimed her. She woke to find a blanket tucked around her shoulders, Jin-woo working on his laptop, Min-jae reading a Korean novel. They looked comfortable together, these twins who moved like two parts of one being. She wondered what it would be like, married to both. The thought made her stomach flip. "We're landing soon," Jin-woo said without looking up. "Seoul in November is cold. There's a coat in the bedroom for you." The coat was Burberry, camel-colored cashmere that probably cost $1,000. It fit perfectly. Everything about this felt like a dream, the kind you wake from not sure if you're relieved or disappointed. Incheon Airport at night was all gleaming lights and efficiency. They moved through immigration in a private corridor, no questions asked. Outside, a convoy waited, 3 black SUVs with tinted windows. Security. She was important enough now to need security. The drive into Seoul stole her breath. She'd seen photos, videos, but nothing prepared her for the reality. Skyscrapers that scraped clouds, lights that turned night into day, the Han River cutting through the city like a silver promise. This was her father's world, the place he'd chosen over her. Looking at it now, she understood the seduction. "Welcome home," Min-jae murmured, watching her reaction. "This is Gangnam, where the powerful live." Home. The word felt like a lie and a premonition. The car turned onto a private road, gates opening automatically. The park estate sprawled before them, modern architecture meeting traditional Korean aesthetics, all clean lines and elegant curves. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. This is where we'll live, Jinwoo said as the car stopped. All three of us. A woman waited at the entrance, older with kind eyes and traditional hanbok. Welcome, Miss Amara. I'm Mrs. Kim, the house manager. Let me show you to your rooms. Rooms, plural. That was something. The mansion was a maze of beauty. Rooms that could house families, art on walls that belonged in museums, floors that gleamed like mirrors. Her suite was on the third floor, bigger than her entire Lagos apartment. King bed with silk sheets, sitting area with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, walk-in closet already filled with clothes in her exact size, designer labels she'd only dreamed of, bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people. How did you know my measurements? She asked Mrs. Kim. The older woman's smile was knowing. The young masters are very thorough. Everything in that closet is yours. Your style, we think. If anything doesn't fit, we adjust. Alone finally, Amara collapsed on the bed. It was too soft, too perfect. She felt like an imposter in someone else's fantasy. Her phone buzzed, a video call from Switzerland. Amara? Her mother's face filled the screen, tears streaming. Baby, what's happening? These people, they say you arranged everything. But the cost? Mama, don't worry about the cost, Amara's voice cracked. Just focus on getting better. That's all that matters. But what did you do? What did you sacrifice? Everything. Nothing. Sold my future to buy yours. I got a job, Mama. A really good job in Korea. With benefits. That's all. Just get better, please. You're in Korea? Her mother's eyes widened. Oh, my baby. Your father's country. Are you okay? Do you feel... I feel fine, Mama. I feel hopeful. That's enough for now. They talked for a few more minutes, her mother's energy fading. After she hung up, Amara let the tears come. Silent and hot. She'd done it. Made the deal. Signed away 2 years of her life to men she didn't know, in a country that felt like a beautiful prison. A knock on her door. She wiped her face quickly. Come in. Both twins entered, changed into casual clothes that still screamed wealth. They looked younger like this, less intimidating, almost human. We wanted to check on you. Jinwoo sat in the armchair. This is overwhelming. We know. Min-jae leaned against her dresser. The wedding is tomorrow. Civil ceremony, just legal requirements, small, fast. You'll sign papers making you Mrs. Park. Both of ours. Tomorrow? Amara's voice came out small. That's so fast. We move fast. Min-jae's expression was unapologetic. No point delaying. Your mother's surgery is the day after. Once you're legally our wife, her care is covered under family benefits. It protects everyone. Protects you, you mean, Amara said. Makes sure I can't back out. Jinwoo's smile was sad. Makes sure we're committed too. Marriage means something in Korea, even an unconventional one like ours. We're promising to take care of you, Amara. That's not nothing. Min-jae moved closer. You're wondering if you made a mistake. She looked at him. This intense man who saw too much. Every second since I walked into that hotel. My mother died when I was 16, Min-jae said suddenly. Cancer, like yours. We had money for treatment, but she refused it. Said she'd lived enough, that we should save resources for the business. She died in pain because she was too proud to accept help. Amara's chest tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm telling you because I understand why you're here. You love your mother enough to sacrifice anything. That's not weakness. It's the kind of strength we need in a wife. The kind of strength that will help us survive what's coming. What's coming? The question felt dangerous. Jinwoo and Min-jae exchanged a look, some silent twin communication. Finally, Jinwoo spoke. Our family, Korean high society, they won't accept this easily. You're an outsider. You're not Korean enough for some, too Korean for others. You're black in a country that's still learning how to be multicultural. It's going to be hard. I've been not enough my whole life, Amara said, steel in her voice. I can handle it. Min Jae's smile was genuine this time. Good. Because tomorrow, you become ours. And we protect what's ours with everything we have. They left, and Amara was alone with her thoughts and her fear and her choice. She stood at the window, Seoul spreading before her like a promise or a threat, and wondered which version of herself she'd become in this new world. The girl who'd said yes to save her mother, or the woman who'd learned to want something for herself. Outside, the city lights blinked like stars, and somewhere in Switzerland her mother was breathing easier. That had to be enough. For now, it had to be enough. But as Amara climbed into sheets too soft and closed her eyes against exhaustion, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just made a deal with something far more dangerous than two handsome strangers. She'd made a deal with destiny, and destiny always collected its debts. Tomorrow, she'd become Mrs. Park. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, she'd learn if she was strong enough to survive the price of love that hadn't been earned yet but felt inevitable anyway. Sleep came eventually, and with it, dreams of her mother smiling, of Seoul streets she didn't know, and of two men with identical faces but different souls, both pulling her towards something that felt like drowning and flying at the same time. What did you think, fam? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you have said yes? Could you marry twins to save someone you love? And what do you think happens at the wedding tomorrow? Hit that subscribe button because episode 2 drops soon. And trust me, the wedding is just the beginning. Things are about to get real complicated, real fast. See you in the next one.